In the quiet of a suburban morning, the kind where dewdrops still cling to blades of grass and the world feels fresh and new, I found myself standing in front of a mirror, staring at a reflection I barely recognized. My eyes were puffy from a night of restless sleep, and my heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand. The reason? A letter, tucked away in a dusty old shoebox, hidden in the attic for what felt like a lifetime. It was a letter from my sister, Lily, or at least the person I had always known as my sister. The words on that yellowed paper had turned my world upside down, shattering the comfortable illusion of our family dynamic. "I've loved you for as long as I can remember," she wrote, "and I can't keep it a secret anymore." I had always known Lily was different. She had a spark, a vibrancy that made her stand out in any crowd. But this confession felt like a punch to the gut. We had grown up together, shared secrets, laughed, cried, and fought like siblings do. But now everything felt different. The memories of our childhood took on a new hue, tinged with a complexity I had never considered. I remembered the way she would look at me sometimes, with an intensity that I had always brushed off as sisterly affection. But now, those moments felt charged with a meaning I had been too blind to see. The letter wasn't just a confession. It was a plea. Lily had poured her heart out, detailing the struggle she had faced, the fear of rejection, the pain of keeping her feelings hidden. She talked about the nights she spent awake, wondering if she should tell me, if I would understand, if I would still love her the same way. It was a raw, unfiltered glimpse into her soul, and it left me reeling. I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions: shock, confusion, and a strange sense of betrayal. But beneath it all, there was a warmth, a tenderness that I couldn't ignore. It was the same feeling I had always had for Lily, but now it was tinged with something more, something I couldn't quite name. As I stood there, clutching the letter, I realized that this wasn't just about Lily's feelings. It was about mine too. I had always seen her as my sister, my confidant, my best friend. But now, I was forced to confront the possibility that there was more to our relationship, more to my feelings than I had ever dared to admit. It was a terrifying thought, one that made my heart race and my palms sweat. But it was also exhilarating, like standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to take the leap of a lifetime. I decided then that I couldn't ignore this. I couldn't pretend that everything was the same, that Lily's confession hadn't changed anything. I needed to talk to her, to understand, to explore this new territory that we found ourselves in. It was scary, yes, but it was also a chance to discover something new, something beautiful. And so, with a deep breath, I folded the letter and tucked it back into the shoebox. I knew what I had to do. I had to find Lily, to look into her eyes and see the truth for myself. It was a journey that would change everything. A journey from family to something more. A journey that would redefine love in ways I had never imagined. I found Lily in our old treehouse, the one our dad had built for us when we were kids. It was our sanctuary, a place where we could escape from the world and just be ourselves. As I climbed the rickety ladder, each step creaking under my weight, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't know what to expect, what to say, or how to act. I just knew that I needed to see her, to talk to her, to understand. When I pushed open the trapdoor and stepped inside, I found Lily sitting cross-legged on the old, faded cushions, her back against the wall. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and hope. She had always been the brave one, the one who faced the world head-on. But in that moment, she looked vulnerable, almost fragile. It was a side of her I had rarely seen, and it made my heart ache. "You read it, didn't you?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, unable to find my voice. She looked down at her hands, picking at a loose thread on her jeans. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to spring it on you like that. I couldn't keep it in anymore. It was eating me alive." I sat down beside her, close but not touching. I could feel the warmth of her body, could hear her breath, soft and steady. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. She looked up at me, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I was scared," she admitted. "Scared of losing you, of ruining what we had." Scared of what people would think, of what our parents would say. Scared of everything. I reached out, tentatively, and took her hand. It was warm and familiar, yet there was a spark, something new and exciting. I'm scared too, I confessed. But we can't keep running from this, can we? She shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. No, we can't, she said. And I don't want to. Not anymore. We sat there for a while, hands entwined, talking like we used to. But this time it was different. There was an honesty, a rawness that hadn't been there before. We talked about her feelings, about my confusion, about the fears that had held us both back. And as we talked, I realized that the love I felt for Lily was changing, evolving. It was like a flower blooming, petals unfurling to reveal a beauty that had been hidden beneath. But even as we talked, even as we explored this new territory, I knew that this was just the beginning. There were challenges ahead, hurdles to overcome, prejudices to face. Our parents, our friends, the world around us, they wouldn't all understand, wouldn't all accept. But in that moment, with Lily's hand in mine and the sun streaming in through the treehouse window, I knew that we could face whatever came our way. Together, we could navigate this journey, from family to lovers, from the known to the unknown. And so, with a deep breath and a heart full of hope, I took the first step into a future that was as terrifying as it was exhilarating. As days turned into weeks, Lily and I found ourselves navigating uncharted waters. We were no longer just siblings. We were something more, something complex and beautiful and terrifying all at once. We kept our relationship a secret at first, stealing moments together when we thought no one was looking. It was exhilarating, like sharing a forbidden treasure, but it was also exhausting. The constant hiding, the fear of being caught, the weight of the secret. It all took a toll on us. One evening, after a particularly tense family dinner where we had to pretend to be just siblings, Lily and I found ourselves in our old childhood hideout by the lake. The sun was setting, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, and the water was calm, reflecting the changing colors. We sat on the old wooden dock, our feet dangling over the edge, the water lapping gently against our toes. I can't keep doing this, Lily said suddenly, her voice breaking the peaceful silence. I turned to look at her, seeing the strain in her eyes, the tension in her shoulders. I can't keep pretending, can't keep lying to everyone. It's killing me. I reached out, taking her hand in mine, feeling the familiar warmth and the spark that was now so much a part of us. I know, I said softly. It's killing me too. But what do we do? How do we tell them? Lily looked out at the water, her eyes reflecting the setting sun. We tell them the truth, she said simply. We tell them that we love each other, that this isn't something we chose, but something that chose us. The thought of coming out to our parents, to our friends, to the world was terrifying. I could already see the shock, the confusion, the judgment in their eyes. But I also knew that Lily was right. We couldn't keep living like this, couldn't keep hiding, couldn't keep pretending. We owed it to ourselves, to our love, to be honest, to be true. That night we made a pact. We would tell our parents first, then our closest friends. We would face whatever came our way together. It was a daunting prospect, but there was also a sense of relief, of freedom in the decision. We were taking control of our lives, of our love, and it felt empowering. The next day, we sat our parents down in the living room. The air was thick with tension, the silence deafening. I could see the confusion in their eyes, the worry lines on their foreheads. Lily and I sat side by side, our hands entwined, our hearts pounding in sync. Mom, Dad, Lily began, her voice steady despite the nervousness I knew she felt. We have something to tell you, something important. They looked at us, their eyes wide with anticipation. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what was to come. We're in love, I said simply, the words hanging in the air like a fragile bubble, ready to burst at any moment. The room was silent for a moment, the ticking of the old grandfather clock the only sound. Then, our mom spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. What do you mean you're in love? Lily and I looked at each other, drawing strength from each other's eyes. "We mean that we love each other," Lily said. "Not just as siblings, but as more." The room erupted into chaos. Our dad stood up, his face red with anger, his voice booming with disbelief. Our mom looked shell-shocked, her eyes filled with tears, her hands trembling. The words unnatural, wrong, and impossible were thrown around, each one hitting us like a physical blow. But amidst the chaos, Lily and I stood firm, our hands entwined, our love unwavering. We knew that this was just the beginning, that there were more battles to fight, more prejudices to overcome. But we also knew that we had each other, that our love was strong enough to face whatever came our way. And so, with our hearts intertwined and our spirits unbroken, we stepped into the storm, ready to fight for our love, ready to fight for our right to be together. As we left the living room, hand in hand, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride, of defiance. We were no longer just siblings. We were lovers, fighters, warriors in a battle for love and acceptance. And no matter what the world threw at us, we were ready to face it, together. The journey from family to lovers was not an easy one. It was filled with challenges, with heartaches, with moments of sheer terror and utter exhilaration. But it was also a journey of discovery, of growth, of love in its purest, most beautiful form. And as Lily and I navigated this journey, we found that love, true love, was worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth every tear, every heartache, every battle scar. And so, with our hearts intertwined and our spirits unbroken, we continued on this journey, ready to face whatever came our way, ready to love, ready to live. In the weeks that followed our revelation, Lily and I found ourselves in a whirlwind of emotions and challenges. Our parents' initial shock and anger slowly gave way to a tense silence, a kind of cold war where we all tiptoed around each other, unsure of what to say or how to act. It was a difficult time, filled with awkward dinners and strained conversations. But Lily and I held on to each other, our love a beacon of light in the storm. One day, our mom approached us, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and resolve. "I don't understand this," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I want to. I want to understand because I love you both." It was a turning point, a small step forward in a journey that felt like climbing a mountain. Our dad was slower to come around, his traditional views and fears for what others might think creating a barrier that seemed insurmountable. But we didn't give up. We talked, we listened, we cried, and we fought. Not with each other, but for each other, for our love, for our right to be happy. Meanwhile, telling our friends was a whole different ball game. Some were supportive, their reactions filled with surprise but also acceptance and love. Others were not so kind. We lost friends, people we had known for years, people we thought would stand by us no matter what. It was painful, a sharp reminder of the prejudices and judgments that still existed in the world. But it also made us stronger, more determined to live our truth, to be proud of who we were and who we loved. One evening, as Lily and I sat in our treehouse, the sun setting in a blaze of colors, we talked about the future. We talked about moving out, about starting fresh in a place where we could be ourselves, where we wouldn't have to face the constant judgment and whispers. It was a scary thought, leaving behind everything we knew, but it was also exciting, a chance to build a life together, just the two of us. But just as we were starting to make plans, to dream of a future together, life threw us another curveball. Lily started feeling sick, her usually vibrant energy replaced by a constant fatigue. At first, we thought it was just the stress of everything that was happening, the emotional toll of coming out and facing the world. But when she started losing weight, when the dark circles under her eyes became more pronounced, we knew something was seriously wrong. A trip to the doctor turned our world upside down. Tests, scans, and endless waiting rooms became our new reality. And then the diagnosis, cancer. It was like a punch to the gut, a cruel joke played by the universe. Just when we were starting to find our footing, just when we were starting to dream of a future together, Lily took the news with a strength and courage that left me in awe. She was determined to fight, to beat this, to live. and I was determined to be by her side every step of the way. We faced the battle together, our love a shield against the fear and uncertainty. Chemotherapy, radiation, endless hospital visits. It was a grueling journey, one that tested our strength, our courage, our love. But we didn't falter. We stood together, hand in hand, hearts intertwined, facing the storm with a resilience that surprised even us. Our parents, despite their initial struggles with our relationship, became our rock. They stood by us, supported us, loved us through it all. It was a reminder that love, in all its forms, was powerful, that it could heal, that it could conquer even the darkest of times. As Lily fought her battle, I found myself falling in love with her all over again. I fell in love with her strength, her courage, her unwavering spirit. I fell in love with the way she smiled even on the toughest days, the way she held my hand and told me that everything would be okay. I fell in love with her, all of her. And I knew that no matter what happened, no matter what the future held, I would love her forever. The journey from family to lovers had been a roller coaster, filled with highs and lows, with moments of sheer joy and utter heartache. But it had also been a journey of growth, of discovery, of love in its purest, most beautiful form. And as Lily and I navigated this new challenge, we found that our love was stronger than ever, a beacon of light in the darkest of times, a testament to the power of love and the strength of the human spirit. We didn't know what the future held, didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but we knew that we had each other, that our love was strong enough to face whatever came our way. And so, with our hearts intertwined and our spirits unbroken, we continued on this journey, ready to face the unknown, ready to love, ready to live. As the seasons changed and the leaves turned from green to gold, Lily and I found ourselves at a crossroads. Her battle with cancer had been long and arduous, but her spirit remained unbroken. The doctors had given us hope, the treatments were working, and there was a light at the end of the tunnel. It was a relief, a moment of joy amidst the storm, and we clung to it with all our might. One crisp autumn afternoon, as we sat by the lake, the sun warming our faces and the breeze rustling the leaves, Lily turned to me, her eyes shining with a newfound determination. "I want to live," she said, her voice steady and strong. "I want to live every moment to the fullest, with you by my side." I reached out, taking her hand in mine, feeling the familiar warmth and the spark that had become such a part of us. "And I want to be there with you," I said, my heart swelling with love and pride. Every step of the way, we decided then that we wouldn't let fear or uncertainty hold us back. We would live, truly live, embracing every moment, every challenge, every joy. We would build a life together, a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. Our journey from family to lovers had been anything but easy. It had been a roller coaster of emotions, a test of our strength, our courage, our love. But it had also been a journey of discovery, of growth, of love in its purest, most beautiful form. And as we looked to the future, we knew that we were ready to face whatever came our way, together. We started making plans again, dreaming of a future where we could be ourselves, where we could love freely and openly. We talked about moving to a new city, about starting fresh, about building a life that was truly ours. It was a scary thought, leaving behind everything we knew, but it was also exciting, a chance to create something new, something beautiful. Our parents, who had once struggled to accept our relationship, became our biggest supporters. They stood by us, encouraged us, loved us through it all. It was a reminder that love, in all its forms, was powerful, that it could heal, that it could conquer even the darkest of times. As we sat there by the lake, the sun dipping below the horizon and painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude, of awe. We had come so far, faced so much, and yet here we were, stronger than ever, our love a beacon of light in the darkness. I turned to Lily, her profile silhouetted against the setting sun, and I knew that I would love her forever. I would love her through the good times and the bad, through the joys and the sorrows, through the challenges and the triumphs. I would love her with every fiber of my being, with every beat of my heart. And so, with our hearts intertwined and our spirits unbroken, we stepped into the future, ready to face whatever came our way, ready to love, ready to live. Our journey from family to lovers had been anything but ordinary, but it had been ours, and it had been beautiful. As the video comes to a close, I want to take a moment to thank you for joining us on this journey. It's been a roller coaster, filled with highs and lows, with moments of sheer joy and utter heartache. But it's also been a journey of growth, of discovery, of love in its purest, most beautiful form. If you've enjoyed our story, if it's resonated with you, if it's made you think, feel, or question, then please consider subscribing to our channel. We have so many more stories to tell, so many more journeys to share, and we would love for you to be a part of them. And don't forget to watch our other videos, to dive into the worlds we create, to explore the stories we tell. We pour our hearts and souls into every video, and we hope that they touch you, move you, inspire you. Lastly, we would love to hear from you. Comment down below and let us know your favorite part of the video, what resonated with you, what made you think, what made you feel. Your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, they matter to us, and we want to hear them.